All right. I do not see an image streaming. We are live. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Make sure everything is together. What's up, everybody? All right, I'm also gonna record this just in case, cause you know I've got a botched history of live streams, man. But yeah, unlike our whining with omnis and stuff like that, which we do in the weekend and whatnot, where we just kind of I go through everybody's comments. It's like a little chit chat. This is gonna be a little bit of a mix and match. I got a little presentation ready for you guys, so how dare I copy you? What did I do? What did I copy? Anyway, sorry guys, this is taking so long. Sorry guys, it has taken me so long to kind of get around to talking about all this stuff. I know over the weekend I had planned to do this on Sunday, but a bunch of stuff kind of came up, and then there's the usual stuff throughout the week that kind of hampered a few things as far as getting around to talking about all this stuff. So to kind of make up for a little bit of that, we've got a lot of clarification from certain things, certain questions that we've had throughout this week, and that's going to be included in all of this jazz. And in just a few weeks, we'll still have more probably coming out of D23 once they have that. Yeah, man. So we got a lot to kind of peruse through and go over. So I will be turning to you guys as we kind of go through it to see how you guys feel about certain things. Maybe ask you guys some questions. If there's anything I missed throughout this whole thing, let me know. I'll be keeping an eye out. I still have it enabled. If I need to, I'll call out the chat and whatnot. But yeah, some wild, crazy stuff that Marvel came out with over the year. We're going to start off before we get into the big MCU Phase 4 through 5 stuff. We'll kind of start with their Friday lineup, which was going through their animation reveals, which honestly wasn't too much, except for particularly I think the biggest takeaways was from the Spider-Man stuff, which we got some clarification on because there was a lot of confusion from so many people after what they were putting out as far as like images and reveals and stuff like that for the lineup. It was raising a lot of questions because it seemed to contradict their mission statement going into it, but we'll get into that. So we are going to switch over, and yeah, man. So we're gonna start off here with our animation lineup. So the first thing they gave us was, of course, I Am Groot. They kicked off with a trailer of such for that, a little bit of a tease. I don't know if you would call it even a trailer. It's probably the one MCU thing that I'm probably not going to react to on the channel just because of the nature of it. It's just these 5 shorts, I think, and they're very much so kind of like geared towards kids. So this might be the only MCU thing right now that I'm not planning on diving into. I watched the trailer in my own time. I didn't actually watch it watch it for the channel or anything of the sort. But yeah, man. Let's see. What do we have for that one? I mean, aside from the trailer reveal, there's not much else to reveal about this one. Obviously, Vin Diesel is back coming for this, and it is airing on Disney Plus on August 10th. Just 2-3 weeks away, give or take. We got a little bit of a panel on What If Season 2, which appears to have been pushed back to 2023, and oddly enough, I don't recall seeing it on the lineup for the phases that they put up. I know Season 1 was included, but we didn't get a position as far as I can recall. And maybe I'm wrong, because I do have those screenshots up here. Maybe I'm just misremembering at the moment, but we didn't actually see that as part of the phase plan. So I'm kind of curious about that. We did get a little bit of a tease as far as what some of the stories might entail. We're going to have some stories about Hela, Captain Carter, Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, and more. The missing Gamora and Tony Stark episode from Season 1 will be included in this upcoming sequence as kind of like a prequel episode. And I think we got one of the other teases was we got Captain Carter versus the Hydra Stomper. So yeah, someone did say it was like, because it's not in the timeline. Well, then why is What If Season 1 included in the lineup? Just because it's not in the timeline doesn't mean it's not going to be included in that. It's still part of the phase situation. But I think they're going to be... I think the stuff that's in the timeline are things that are going to be directly engaged with the story they're building. While things in What If Season 1 kind of set up the possibilities and stuff for that for some of the things that we've seen, maybe Season 2 will be a little bit more on its own. Some fun surprises, because honestly, you know, we got a spin-off coming out of What If, as we expected a few. But the big one that's a surprise to me was Marvel Zombies, because if we're going to be going into this, I was like, how are we going to commit to this at the tone? And that was kind of one of the things that kind of took away from the episode itself in What If Season 1 for me was, you know, they couldn't really kind of commit to it all that well. It was fun, it was fine, but yeah, they're ramping it up now that they're spinning it off, and they've got these parental settings in control. It is coming now in 2024 with a TVMA rating. The first, believe the first, at least confirmed Disney Plus original TVMA product that's going to be coming. And we got a little bit of a tease as far as the lineup of some of our heroes, some of our villains, and maybe some unknown potentials. As far as, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some people where we don't necessarily know where they fall. Let's see. So we got our hero lineup, which includes Shang-Chi, Kate Bishop, Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, Death Dealer, Kamala Khan, Katie Chen, and Jimmy Woo, of all people. And I gotta say, like, it took me a second to look at this to, like, kind of even, like, get an idea of what was going on here. Because Jimmy... It took me a couple minutes to figure out who that was until I saw that playing card. And I gotta say that it's really ballsy, I think, for them to go TVMA for this, because it is going to... This, of anything that they've had, I think, I would dare say requires it, given the subject matter. Otherwise, you're really going to be putting on the kid gloves throughout it. And I'm glad that they took them off for this. And it gives me hope that if we're on it for this... that we'll be seeing it with more of their other shows coming out. Maybe there's hope for a Punisher sequel, return, reboot. Maybe there's hope for Blade or any of these other projects to kind of really kind of push the limit, even though I know they've been pretty adamant that Blade's going to stay PG-13, while Deadpool will be, I think, the first MCU rated R film from what they've said. I'm glad they're kind of diving into that whole thing. Some villains that have been confirmed are Hawkeye returning from the dead. We saw him actually die in the previous season. Captain America just will not stay down. He will do this all day for all eternity, apparently, even if he's cut in half. Oh, man. We got Abomination on the list. We got Ghost, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Okoye, and then the wild card is Icarus, where he's an automaton. I'm wondering how he plays into this. Much like Vision, we saw he couldn't get infected. I would have to imagine that the Eternals are the same way. Given that they are inorganic as far as I'm aware. I mean, we know they're automatons, they're created, they're manufactured, but can they get sick? Do they have any illnesses? They can't age, so I'd have to assume no. So I'm wondering how this war-torn, zombie-ravaged land is going to affect him and his goals, his allegiances. And this, you know, thinking back on it, you know, if the requirement for... This is just an off-the-top thing. This isn't in my notes at all. But thinking about it, you know, given the requirements of the birth of a Celestial, right, is that there has to be civilization, you know, people thriving on the planet to be born. You know, Would a zombie apocalypse stave that off or increase it? I mean, you wouldn't have a growing population. You wouldn't, in turn, have a dwindling one, but you would still have an active population. That's a question I'd like to pose to you guys. But yeah, man, that was a surprise to see that they were pushing for a TVMA with this one. And I think that it was it's a huge win, I think. And yeah, I saw somebody in the chat mention it's going to be a little annoying hearing about parents complaining about them adding TVMA and R-rated things to Disney Plus. They've already started. There was a big push and a big hubbub over the weekend when Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan hit the scene. I forget the name of the organization, but they openly blasted Disney for putting those 3 things on their streaming service. So, yeah, where I was kind of like, I'll check it out. I wasn't hyped up. I wasn't excited for Marvel Zombies. The fact that they're going to be pushing the limits a little bit from what they're used to. Yeah, I think they've piqued my interest, I'll say, this time around. Another one that we've been excited for, and they've announced previously, was for X-Men 97. If you have not caught up on the original series, you have plenty of time to do so. It will be arriving in fall 2023 and picking up after the events of the original series, which is on Disney Plus right now. I remember watching it when I was growing up. It was one of the, between this and the 90s Spider-Man series, was the only Marvel I was even familiar with as a kid. And for a really long time. It was really what set the groundwork of my Marvel knowledge for really until the MCU. And I'd say the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies and the Blade films really kind of caught the wind, obviously before the MCU kicked off. But outside of that, I was never a Marvel Comics guy, as many of on the channel would well know. But if you're new, there's your little heads up. I was always kind of a DC kid when I was growing up, outside of Spider-Man and the X-Men. Those were really the only Marvel properties I partook in growing up. So, yeah, man, this was one of those shows. It was iconic. It's still hanging around. And we're going to be following up after those events. Much like with where the show kind of left off, Magneto has hence been reformed and will be leading the X-Men moving forward, as they've announced. We will have a lot of our original lineup coming back. Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine, Jubilee, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey, and Beast. And we'll be following on their Avengers. And we also have a brand new team that is coming together. We don't necessarily know much about the story. They haven't really talked about it too much, but we'll be seeing a new group, whether they be a new group of X-Men, Future, Side, whatever. We'll be having Cable, Bishop, Sunspot, Nightcrawler, Morph, and Forge as our own little side mutant team. They also talked about how the series will also be bringing back Mr. Sinister, Emma Frost, Sebastian Shaw, and Calypso. And the original producers and showrunners, Eric and Julia Lewald, as well as the director, Harry Houston, are also set to be around and consulting on the new series. Could be X-Force. More than likely, possibly, but I don't want to jump the gun and say what it is without confirmation, because they could be doing their own thing. But I'm really excited to see what they do with this. And honestly, there may be the time. I can't actually remember how many episodes of the original series there was, but I know I say things like this. I would love to read this before this comes out. I would love to rewatch this before this comes out. But I would love to do like a full rewatch of the original series, because I have not actually watched it myself since it originally aired, and at which I had seen every episode up until that point. But man, that was so long ago, and my memory is not the best, as you guys well should know by this point. But I think the one thing that kind of gave us the biggest stir of that whole panel with the animation on their Friday thing was all of the information pretty much from Spider-Man freshman year. The predication going into this, like they have said previously many times up until this point, this was supposed to be the origins of the MCU's Spider-Man. Like, this was his growth, his freshman year, sophomore year, moving into where we meet him in Civil War, right? That was what we were sold. But all the stuff that we saw coming out of the reveals on Comic-Con seemed to kind of contradict that. And before we really get into it, I think that this is going to be, we might as well just kind of kick it out of the rug. And one of the producers who worked on this production in an interview this week added and clarified that yes, this is no longer Tom Holland's MCU's Spider-Man's origin. This is effectively now confirmed to be basically its own extended what if story. And they explain where that branch begins. So like in Civil War, where we see, we see Peter coming home, he picks up that Blu-ray player, he goes into the apartment, and lo and behold, he's there, and there's a Tony Stark in his living room. That is the same setup, but instead of Tony, he's going to be greeted instead by Norman Osborn, and that is where things diverge. We'll see a lot of similar points, similar origin setups, a lot of similar characters, but effectively this will send him on a completely different trajectory. So instead of Tony being there, we got a Norman Osborn, because that was a big red flag for a lot of people. No Way Home established hard definitively that a Norman Osborn and a Harry Osborn does not exist at all on 616. So this really threw up a lot of questions whenever that was coming about, especially when there was this whole like joke about them poking fun at Doc Ock's name, clearly implying they would have never run into a Dr. Octavius. But as we see with the villain lineup that was revealed, there is a Doc Ock involved. So there was a lot of things that threw a lot of confusion over the weekend, and I think it, like with why they decided to reveal so much, a lot of the questions about Phase 4 has been, where are we going? And all of that. A lot of people were kind of confused on the direction of it. I feel like Marvel or the producers working on this series felt the need to clarify a few things, and it's crazy. I don't blame them though, because really that was the big talk of the weekend after this was all announced, was what the hell are they doing? Because even at the presentation at Comic-Con, they still said this was a prequel to Civil War, and that it would still lead into the MCU Spider-Man. So they still were doubling down on that. So it definitely created a lot of understandable confusion. But it's deviating, and there's a lot of fun stuff that's coming out of it. And we got our first little look at the design for Peter, going for the nerdy classic look there. He does kind of look like Tom Holland if you just slap some glasses on him, though. We got a look at one of his proto suits, which is kind of an interesting little twist on the one we've already seen up until this point. And we got a bunch of multiple suits that he's going to be getting throughout the series. Unclear whether these are suits or upgrades of his, or if we're going to be getting some Spider-Verse elements popping in here as well. But yeah, man. Well, got a collection of his friends, which from what they've said so far include Lonnie Lincoln, Amadeus Cho, Harry Osborn, and more. The rest of which I don't necessarily recognize. If any of you guys do, let me know. I know we got Amadeus in there, who I don't know if he's still the Hulk, but I know he becomes the Hulk for a hot minute. As far as villains go, the ones that we have confirmed so far are Dr. Octopus, Chameleon, Rhino, Scorpion, Tarantula, Speed Demon, Unicorn, Tombstone, the Wizard, and more to come. Charlie Cox will be reprising his role to voice this universe's Daredevil in this, oddly enough, I think, better version of the suit, which we'll get into a conversation about that probably here soon. Definitely like this design. And, of course, Doctor Strange. I don't think they announced whether or not Benedict Cumberbatch would be reprising the voice for the character in the show, but Doctor Strange will be appearing in it. And, yes, a big key thing is that the Witch, as mentioned previously, who is slated to be Peter's best friend in this series, is, of course, one of the Runaways. So they are kind of spinning off some stuff from some ideas from other shows back into the fold here. And that's pretty much where we wrapped up with the animation side of things. And I know that the biggest fuss over the weekend came from that. So just before we kind of move on and get into things, what are your guys' feelings on that change from, of course, the Spider-Man shift? What are out of the animation side of things, what are you guys most looking forward to? Because I'd be really curious to see what your guys' thoughts on it. I'm just kind of cruising through the chat here. I'm disappointed that this isn't a prequel to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but could still be fun. That's pretty much exactly where I'm at, to be honest. I was excited to kind of get a little glimpse of that and see what his life was like. But again, given the information that we had up until that point, I feel like it kind of implied that he wouldn't have had a huge rogues villain gallery to really dive into to flesh out those times a lot. The whole idea of it made me wonder, what is it going to be about? I feel like if you start to introduce too many villains too early, it might feel a little jarring. See, we have a polar opposite here. The news actually made you more excited. I'm glad. And I think that brings in more promise. I think that it kind of eases off a little bit. And I think them having a new spin and do some new flavors and do something else will be fun. And with what we learn later, it may come back around a little bit into the future, which would be a lot of fun to see how that plays off. Why Speed Demon? He's part of the evil Marvel Justice League. Well, why not? I don't know. Freshman year takes place on a different Earth, but still the MCU per the multiverse. That is semantics and not the point. So did everything pre-Civil War still happen? That is a good question. I don't know. I really don't know. They did already greenlight a season 2 for it, which is obviously aptly named Sophomore Year. So it'll be fun to kind of get into the swing of things and see how that whole spiel goes. I think out of the lineup, I think the things I'm most excited for that they've talked about in the animation lineup is X-Men 97. Because I feel like with everything that's been going on and after the acquisition of the Fox, they've not done a whole lot yet, and there's not a whole lot in the horizon other than this. Debatably Namor, and debatably even more so Kamala after Ms. Marvel, that they've even utilized with this acquisition of the mutants and all of that. Curious as to what TVMA means for Marvel Zombies. Well, a lot more dismemberment, a lot more death, maybe some swears, some blood, some viscera. Because a lot of the times, anytime it was about to get a little too graphic in the episode of What If, it kind of would cut away, pan away. It was a lot of implied violence. I'm sure they'll probably show a lot more on screen when it comes to the show moving forward. Looking forward to all of it. I'm excited to see what Marvel Studios does. They also greenlit season 3 for What If. I missed that. That's cool. That is awesome. Let's see. And the show can pull off more than abiding to canon, its limits, which would limit its creativity and storytelling. Exactly. Because, yeah, it would definitely have a lot of bumpers and guards and rails and lines they'd have to stick within. Oh, I did forget. They did clarify that X-Men 97 exists within, what was it, 838? The Multiverse of Madness Earth that we saw Doctor Strange go to with America, where the Illuminati was, where we saw Xavier in his yellow chair kind of coming out. They've established that X-Men, the animated series, and the subsequent sequel series, 97, exists in that timeline. That was clarified at one point or another in an interview, I think that came after Comic-Con. So, sweet. Which will be kind of curious to see how they pull that together, because I feel like there are some connections that don't necessarily make sense, but I'd have to do a rewatch to be 100% clear on that. I just realized I was doing this. Whoops. Let's see. And real quick, I'm just scanning through the chat here. That be cool to see what some of the repercussions for Multiverse of Madness will be seen in X-Men 97. It all depends on whether or not 97 takes place post or pre Multiverse of Madness, I would say. Because Because, I mean, Xavier's not in the lineup. He's not shown. So it could very well be post-Multiverse of Madness. Who knows? Which is going to be kind of crazy. Woo! All right. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry to have to do this so soon, but I will, I got to step away for just 1 second, and then we'll dive into the live action stuff. Wow. Sorry about that. Downsides of chugging a Red Bull literally like just before this. All right. So yeah, I know the big thing coming out of there for most people wasn't going to be the animation side of things. I think What If, has a fairly a decent following. I think a fair amount of people are excited for Marvel Zombies, but I feel like the most attention, at least excitement wise, goes to X-Men '97, and that's kind of where I'm at. And then most of it was just a lot of big old question marks about freshman year after the end of the presentation. So I'm glad that they kind of gave us a little clarification on that moving into the week, so we weren't going like till D23 with all this confusion, because I feel like knowing the way the internet is, it probably could have not not went all that great. So one thing that we did get going into things was let me get that out of there. Boop. So we did get our timeline. Now I'm going to pull this over here so I can see it, because I'll pretty much be reading from the stream here. Move that over there. They pretty much gave us a whole rundown of Phase 4 right out the gate. After a sizzle reel and all that, we got confirmation that Phase 4 is ending with She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever. So we didn't know. We had no idea when this was going to come to a close. I saw some people saying we were only halfway through Phase 4. The real answer was nobody really knew up until this this whole thing. And Phase 4 mostly has been a lot of setup. And we've seen a lot of the interconnected themes kind of running throughout, like Shang-Chi, Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man, even Thor and the Eternals, and especially Loki, had a lot of connecting threads, especially Moon Knight, I think, is going to have some ties to Black Panther. But we'll have to wait and see. But we did get confirmation that we'll be coming to the end of Phase 4. And I think that a lot of the confusion going through all this is one of the reasons they decided to give us so much during this whole thing. But of course, we'll just kind of go through this chronologically. I'm not going through this in the way that they presented it. The way I'm going through everything is chronologically, when these things are coming out, when they are planned, because I know their presentation ended with Black Panther, but we're going to be talking about Black Panther here in just a minute. So just wanted to kind of get that out there before we, just in case anybody was confused. And then I'm just rearranging a couple things here. So, of course, these are the final two projects that are going to be closing out this phase. What's everybody's vibe been for Phase 4 so far? I've been a little mixed on it overall. I will say that out of everything that we've been seeing, She-Hulk is one of my most anticipated Marvel projects at the moment, and that was even before the Daredevil tease and all that. I was just really looking forward to it. And then I think a lot of big question marks were wondering how Wakanda Forever was going to handle things. But I feel like it's just been pretty clear and obvious to me that it's been mostly set up. This where Phase 1 originally had the teases at the end, kind of gave you an idea, the puzzle pieces of where it was building. This is a little foggier because the goal isn't to set up something at the end of this phase. The goal is to set up something even larger than that 2 phases down the road, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. I saw somebody mention in there what favorite project was Shang-Chi. I think I have to agree. So far, I mean, we still have Wakanda Forever, we still have She-Hulk, but right now my favorite film, at least, or project to come out of Phase 4, I'd say Disney Plus wise, I would say WandaVision still, but if we're talking overall, probably Shang-Chi. Let's see. But favorite characters of Phase 4? Wanda and Shang-Chi probably, I would have to say. But yeah, next up, we have She-Hulk. We'll be reacting to it. It's coming out on the 17th of next month, so we don't have much longer to really wait for it. We got a trailer that played during the presentation. We reacted to it here on the channel. We've talked about it. New Rockstars did a podcast breakdown of it, unlike their usual trailer breakdown, so we haven't had one of those to kind of talk about some of the things that they dropped throughout it. So I did want to kind of touch on a few things that I noticed throughout. Obviously, we got Bruce training Jennifer throughout it, trying to show her how to use her Hulk abilities and whatnot, and she's a little bit of a prodigy. You know, we got her fourth wall breaking, which actually, I feel like a lot of people are probably not going to realize this, and this is something that I learned as well, is that the first fourth wall breaker that Marvel actually had was not Deadpool. It was actually She-Hulk. So I'm curious to see. I haven't actually seen anybody mention that or call out Deadpool in that way, but I've seen a lot of people being like, well, actually. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a part of the conversation, especially once it gains traction and it comes out and more people are watching it. I feel like that comparison is going to be made, but people just aren't going to really realize that. We got Wong popping up. Of course, she works for the DODC. She's representing their superhero law division. And a big proponent of the plot is going to be her representing Emil Blonsky and his reformation, which makes me wonder, and we'll talk about a little bit of speculation here and there throughout this whole thing, is that is this going to be kind of setting up the Thunderbolts in a way? Or at least getting our ball rolling. We've seen little nuggets here and there with Zemo, with Valentina, with Walker, with Yelena. The puzzle pieces are there, but I wonder if this is going to be if there's going to be a little bit of a backdoor edge to this that gives us a little bit more insight into that. Maybe that's part of his community service, if you will, if he does kind of come out of this on top in any kind of way. We saw a group. Actually, you know what? Let's make this a little easier to talk about. I'm going to drop that, pull this up, and we are going to, where you at? Pop. Hold up. There we go. Wrong trailer. Here we are. Where's this? Yeah, these guys right here. We got a little bit of a hint of what I think might be the Wrecking Crew when she's throwing down with these guys. So there's going to be like these little backdoor sprinkles throughout this entire thing. It's running 9 episodes or 9 30-minute episodes. So I'm wondering if this is their first go around, because we see the wrench, the gauntlets, we see the wrecking ball itself, this guy with his shiny ass hard hat. So if you're not familiar with them, I don't really know much about them. I just did a little digging around, and we got, what is going on? There we go. I've got all kinds of stuff going on here. I mean, aside from the get-ups, they've got the weapons. There's 4 of them. 4 of them. I don't know, man. I think that's what we're getting, even if it is a little bit of a discount version. Of course, I think the biggest conversation that anybody had, or the thing that kind of rocked the world, was that end of the trailer when a little you-know-who showed up. I know I'm a little all over the place. I tried to plan this out. I'm just really bad at fucking just reading off a script. So I apologize. But yeah, man, that was the shit kicker for me. That was what got everybody, myself included, riled up. And the producers, the showrunners, I think, and some of the writers were talking about how they were surprised at how much Marvel actually let them utilize this character. So, Daredevil, making his appearance into the show, it will be a lot more significant than just this little cameo. He's going to be popping up quite a bit, by all hints of what they've been dropping in some of these interviews. Initially, when the show kicked off, they weren't sure if they would even they didn't think they would have access to this character until it was kind of slowly revealed through No Way Home and other things to even them that this character is playable in the MCU. And from there, they were like, hey, can we use this character? And they're like, sure, because it only makes sense. Who's another superhero lawyer in this world? Matt freaking Murdock. It would make the most sense for him to be in here. And from what they said they just kept writing him in, expecting them to get some pushback from Marvel Studios, and nothing. So he's going to be in there at least more than just a flashy cameo. I won't say he's going to have a large overarching role or anything like that. We don't really know, but we at least know that he's going to be more than just a glorified cameo. in this. What I will say, and this comes back to what I was kind of going to lead into back when we were talking about the costume design that we saw for Daredevil in Spider-Man freshman year. I'm not a huge fan of the red and yellow suit. From the comics, games, it's never been one of my favorites. I know a lot of people were looking forward to the classic yellow-red combo. I myself, not so much. So, I don't know. I do like that it still has some hints and some tinges of the original suit from the Netflix series, but I'll just have to see more of it in action to kind of get a feel for it. But I'm just excited that Matt's back. I could care less what he's wearing. And to be honest, my favorite suit of his is maybe, this might be an unpopular opinion, I'm not really sure. My favorite suit that I've seen him in is just the black hooded one that he wore throughout season 3. That's actually my favorite Daredevil look, which really isn't necessarily a Daredevil look all that much. But yeah, that's my favorite. But yeah, man, I'm excited. We've been campaigning for Charlie to come back for a long time. We're just getting Charlie. And we'll get more Charlie the more we get through all the things that we have to talk about. But I'm excited, man. I think as far as Marvel goes, and this might be another unpopular opinion, I don't know. I think that Daredevil might be my favorite non-Spider-Man Marvel live-action creation. The Netflix series. Might be debaucherous to say, but I'm coming with. Someone was like, the black one is kind of basic. Yeah, well, I think it looks a lot better than his red suit from the show, and I think it looks a lot better than this mustard-ass thing right here, but I don't care, man. We got Charlie, and I'll take it. Daredevil Best Defender? Oh, easy. Easy. Unpopular opinion. Didn't like Daredevil Season 3. Well, how dare you? Nah, man. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. Hell, man. I'll stand on my Ninja Daredevil stance. Daredevil sus. Maybe. Daredevil, man. Mustard and ketchup. Yeah, you'll get a lot of that. You'll get a lot of that, man. I guarantee it. Because I feel like most people know the classic red suit. And that maybe that's just the more casual fans of Daredevil. McDaredevil. Oh, you guys. Hell yeah. So funny. But yeah, I'm down for it. I don't care. I'm just glad. I really care about this character more for Charlie Cox's rendition of the character. You can strip away the suits. You can strip away the superheroism of it all, but it just comes down to the way that I think Charlie Cox has really grounded Matt Murdock. But I'm excited to see what they do with him, man. I really am. But let's move on from there. I can't wait to react to this show because I cannot wait to dive into it, especially with it being like a courtroom comedy with a superhero flair to it. I feel like it's going to be like WandaVision with kind of breaking this superhero format a little bit, even though WandaVision eventually kind of slipped back into it towards the end. I think this will kind of have the same kind of vibe for that, where all of the other Marvel shows that had come out of there kind of had a very similar approach. I think this one might break the mold a little bit. That's kind of all I really want right now, to be honest, and I'm excited and down for it. And I think Daredevil being in the show is just the cherry on top. I didn't need it, but I'm happy I'm getting it, you know? Moving on, we got Wakanda Forever. Of course, this was the thing they saved for last at the presentation to kind of capstone everything, because there was a lot of questions surrounding this, obviously with the passing of Chadwick, and rest in peace. He's a phenomenal actor, phenomenal person, and he's definitely going to be missed, I think, within the grand scheme of things, for sure. And I still have my questions about the way it's being handled. I know a lot of people are kind of feeling weird, understandably so, that his passing is kind of a plot point and a marketing point of the movie. And I know some people, I even saw one comment on one of my videos talking about it, was that Marvel is tricking us into paying for a memorial to Chadwick, which could be the case. We don't really know. Right now, there's understandably a lot of mixed emotions that are going to come from this movie no matter what. And the passing of Chadwick, unfortunately, with him being like such a staple part of the MCU at the point he came in at, and it was just short-lived, it hit such a chord, especially with Black Panther, for so many people, that there's not, I really don't feel like there is a right way to go about it for Marvel. At one point, you're going to be letting down all the people that have become attached to that character, to attach to this world, to that corner, to finally are represented. Like, do you back away from that? How do you push forward and keep that legacy going? It's just, there's a lot of big old question marks. I'm getting a little emotional talking about it. There's no perfect way they could have handled it, and from my perspective, and it's just the way I feel having watched it, I think the approach honors the character. I think it honors Chadwick himself and his legacy, because he did put a lot into that, and he became the poster child for that whole corner, man. So I like that they are acknowledging it. I like that they are including it, and that it really is felt through the story itself. It is a memorial to him as a person as well, and the character. Is it manipulative? Maybe, but I think that's the best way to go about it when you're talking about honoring his work and what that character means and has meant to a lot of the people that lived through it all alongside him, who grew up looking up onto the screen and seeing Chadwick on the screen as this character. So I don't know. I don't know any other way that they could have gone about this, and no matter what, you're not going to please everybody. At the end of the day, that's just the reality of the whole thing. But we got a powerful trailer set to a beautifully hand-selected collection of music with a great mix. We got our first look at Namor. You know, we got a little bit of a tease in Endgame where we were like, earthquake in the middle of the Atlantic? What's going on? Is this Atlantis acting up? Maybe, but there's some questions about. There's obviously been a change to his origins. He's rather than the Greek-inspired Atlantis we're used to, they're really kind of going out of their way to kind of separate Namor from Aquaman, because, you know, even though Namor predates Aquaman in the comics, to the public eye, most people know Aquaman. The movie Aquaman made $1 bajillion. And there's another one coming. So they, understandably so, want to not seem like they're replicating that. So they've switched a couple things up. They've made it more Central American based. I think they're basing it a little more on the Mayan culture, Mayan gods and stuff like that. And Atlantis is a little more closer to Central and Southern America. So I'm curious to see that spin. I love the design. I love the aesthetic that we saw in the trailer. And it was just beautiful throughout. And I don't know, man. I have some questions about what's going on throughout it. Obviously, we all do. It was a teaser trailer. We're not really supposed to get some answers. But, you know, we've seen here and there through the other films and shows, like in little hints, little bylines on newscasts and stuff, that Wakanda's been making moves. Not everything's been going smoothly. And then, of course, we have all this going on. And there's a lot of questions about when this is taking place. I think they clarified after the fact that, like all the other films, it does take place post-blip. But I have a question about some of the scenes in this, because there is this line from Ramonda where she says, "All of my family is gone." So we know that she lost her husband. We know a pivotal part of this plot is she's lost her son now. But Shuri's around. So unless something happens and Shuri's presumed dead at some point in the movie, I'd have to imagine that line of dialogue may be taken from during the blip, while Shuri and T'Challa are probably both gone. That's the only way that would make sense to me. Maybe their mother didn't get blipped, but they did. But I don't think the whole movie is going to be during the blip. So I don't know. It's just a little observation that we have. We're definitely setting up a major conflict between Wakanda and Atlantis. There are rumors that it won't even be called Atlantis in this, but that's more of a rumor that hasn't been hard confirmed by anything that I'm aware of. I've been trying to stay away from any of the leaks. So if you guys know anything that, refer to the pinned comment. We're not talking about leaks today. So that said, big old question mark on all of that. Again, I think Namor looks great. I love the design. I love the aesthetic. I love the Central American inspiration to their culture, their way of life. And I love the way it contrasts the Wakandan culture that we've seen established so far. And it's just, I think it's going to be like eye candy on the screen when everything just starts mashing together, when these cultures collide. And I'm really curious to see what puts them at odds. Like, what has them going off at one another, how these characters are going to be dealing with it, because we saw that opening shot with Nakia by what appears to be a Mayan-style pyramid. I don't know. I've got a lot of questions about it. I'm really looking forward to it. After seeing the trailer, I'm definitely curious to see what's going on and curious to see what happens moving forward with this. Of course, the trailer ends with somebody in the suit. I know some people have their theories. Like I've said, based on this, it could be anybody to me. I don't think the figure itself speaks too much one way or the other. I feel like the obvious answer is probably Shuri. But Nakia's a very valid person who could probably fit in the suit. I saw some people say that maybe temporarily Ramonda might actually be the Black Panther for a hot minute. We've got a lot of people talking about, particularly maybe they bring back Killmonger, because there are rumors that Michael B. Jordan has shot some scenes for the movie. Koye, very valid. Some people think it might be M'Baku, but I feel like out of all of those people, M'Baku is the one I think least likely fits in this suit. I don't know, though. I would also say the same about Shuri, because she's very, very petite. And just from what we've seen in the trailer, I don't know if she's bulked up enough to really kind of fill it out. Nakia, though, on the other hand, Okoye, definitely. But I don't know. You never know. We don't know what happens in the transition. There's a lot of scenes we haven't seen. We've seen 2 minutes of a 2.5 hour thing. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm looking forward regardless to see what they do with this character, how they pass on the mantle, what it means. I think there's a lot we can kind of infer and break down from this trailer. There was an interview with the actual trailer editor on Kevin Smith's podcast, Fat Man Beyond, with him and Mark Bernardin, where they talked to the person that edited this trailer, and that Ryan Coogler and the way they approached this trailer was very meticulous in the way that they synced it with the musical choices. And this shot occurs when the words, what was it? I think when you wake up. Yeah, when I wake up is the words that this point hits, which raises some questions. If that means something. If it means something. Who would wake up? Are they going to attempt to try to bring somebody back? It's not unheard of in the MCU. I don't know. I still feel like, even though that would be a little bit of I think thematically that would, it's Will Smith. I've seen a lot of great memes about who's in the suit, but yeah, it would be pretty, be pretty crazy. if that was the case. But yeah, um, I don't know. It could just be misleading to make us overthink it. But that much thought went into the musical choice and the editing for this trailer, I don't know. When I wake up, is it a clue? Is it a hint? Is it a tease? Is it nothing? Is it a misdirect? I don't know. I think keeping in line with the comics, I think Shuri's probably the best route to go. I personally, if I had my pick, I'd love to see Nakia take it, or somehow if they could get Killmonger in there, because I think that maybe he could be redeemed and maybe kind of be that middle ground, especially because where we've seen, I don't know, what am I trying to say? That Killmonger's point of view, while misguided and extremist, did inform T'Challa on how to better steer Wakanda towards helping the world. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Someone said, "Oh, well, you've ruined the movie for me." How? Only a few people coming to mind with "Wake Up" there. I mean, it's just like, it could be overthinking. I would say it's... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, supposedly there is a leak for who's in the suit, but I don't know. Like I said, I try to stay away from that, and I'm definitely not going to be sharing a leak. So, that said, man, I don't know. I'm fine with whoever, to be honest. But I feel like the obvious answer is going to be Shuri. I feel like that is the more natural way for it to go. And we as fans, we as purveyors of all of this media, like to really kind of get into the speculation side of things. But like I always say, don't get locked into your expectations. I have fun speculating. I sometimes shoot big, shoot wide, but it doesn't hurt me when it doesn't happen, you know? And a lot of people they get so committed to some of these ideas, and we've seen that a lot over the last few years, particularly around things like No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, where the rumors, the speculations, the theories, people get really attached to them, and yeah, they get attached to them so much or believe them so much that when it doesn't happen, the movie automatically loses points for them. And I've never been like that. I know some people had mentioned they probably should have just recast T'Challa, and keep that very close to the chest. I kind of agree at one point or another. I did feel that way as well. But if they were working it into the story like this, maybe this is the better route. Or who knows? We've been playing around with the multiverse a lot. And if that's going to be a big theme of things, who knows? What if it was just a variant of T'Challa? You're not recasting Chadwick's T'Challa, but you could be bringing in another T'Challa, another Killmonger. There's ways around it, but I don't think it's going to be that big. I don't think it's going to be that out there. I think it's just going to be straightforward. I think that's the best way to honor the character and the story that they're going to tell, more than likely, is to keep it centered on the characters that we know, the story that we know, and push that forward. So it's fun to play around, but we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. When's it coming out again? November 11th this year. This year, man. And you're right, they have recast people before. They're not above recasting people, but I think Chadwick hit such a chord in a way that I feel like Terrence Howard and Edward Norton probably never did, to be quite blunt. And especially since it was due to that situation, it's a little more sensitive, I think, than maybe if if Chadwick was still alive, and things didn't work out the way they thought, and maybe they did a recast, maybe there wouldn't be a second thought about it. But it's a little bit of a different situation, I think, given, one, just the kind of cultural movement that this movie kind of brought forth as well. and the impact that it had. It's a little bit different than recasting Edward Norton as Mark Ruffalo or Terrence Howard as Don Cheadle. So yeah, I've kind of eased up away from that myself, but I still know a lot of people feel that way as well, and I don't blame them for that. Like I said, no matter what they do, it's not going to please everybody. It's not going to be the perfect solution to this problem, but I like what they're doing, and I've warmed up to it a lot, so I'm curious to see how it goes. I do want to rewind a little bit because I forgot to actually mention it, and this might be nothing, but it came up in a video yesterday that I reacted to. We're going to rewind to She-Hulk just a minute, because I just want to get your all's thoughts on it. I don't know if I can get it on the screen. Did you guys see the featurette they put out? With this little poster in the corner? I can't really show it or blow it up. I could probably... Yeah, that ain't helping it. That made it worse. Anyway, that right there, I completely skipped over this. Now, I did point it out in my video. It does say Blaze. That is crystal clear that it says Blaze. And the first name ends in a Y. The big old question mark, the big old thing that kind of wrecks this is there's only 4 letters in that first name. And Johnny Storm, classically, Johnnny. So that could be Ohnnny. It could. I initially read it as Sonny Blaze or Donnie Blaze or something like that. I got a little excited, but somebody, and I did this on a rewatch as well, the flame behind the last visible letter in that font style, the flame kind of makes a J. Maybe. They might be switching things up. It could just be an Easter egg. It could just be a nod. This could be a Ralph Boner situation. But who knows? I don't want to get anybody too hyped up, but that definitely caught my eye. And it definitely looks more like a stage magician more than anything. So it was definitely my first thought was, holy fuck, Johnny Blaze. But yeah, I don't know. Just want to put that in there. Just wanted to rewind to see how everybody feels about that. Poke the bear a little bit. Because, yeah, I saw that, and I was like, I only saw that because I wanted to rewind to see what these bats Wong was fighting for what they looked like. Because for a second, my initial thought was they look kind of like the bats in Shang-Chi, the Soul Stealers, but they're not. It's a different design, but similar. And then I just zeroed in on that because it's just the only other thing in frame. But who knows? Maybe making him a stage magician versus a stunt performer would be an interesting shift. But yeah, be fun. Be fun. But that concludes Phase 5. Or sorry, Phase 4. Phase 4. Now, I don't have any footage from this because it wasn't shown. But Phase 5, and it's leaked. But like I said, I'm not showing you guys leaked stuff, so I'm not reacting to leaked stuff. There are descriptions of what was shown. That's fine. So if you don't want to hear about the descriptions of some of these trailers that we haven't got to see yet, feel free to tune out. I would totally understand if I don't want to spoil it for anybody that doesn't know, but the leaked trailers that were recorded from some hand phones, I'm not going to be showing that. So let's see. And we're going to be moving on. The first film to start Phase 5, as we got our entire Phase 5 lineup revealed, which blew my mind that they went so hard and heavy to plot out Phase 5 in this manner. You know, I really feel like this was in response to the growing unrest of maybe social media or just the fandom as a whole not really knowing where we're going. that they wanted to go this hard. So hard as far as we got 3 movies revealed that are going to be in Phase 6, which we'll get to. There is one thing that I did want to point out. This lineup seemingly misses an untitled Marvel film which was scheduled for February 16th, 2024, but does not appear on this list. And from all reports that I've been able to find, that date hasn't been moved. So there might be a mystery movie somewhere still in Phase 5 that we don't know about. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and mention it. But Phase 5 kicks off with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is going to be dropping February 17th, 2023. Some things that we know about it are that we're going to be spending a lot of time in the quantum realm and exploring it. We pick up with Scott, who's kind of been living off of his exploits. We know from Ms. Marvel, he's got a podcast. In this, he's writing a book. So he's kind of like living off of the stardom that comes with being a known superhero. We got yet another recasting of Cassie Lang. She's now going to be played by Catherine Newton. They showed off a trailer specifically for the people at Hall H, which I'm not going to show, but I will talk about what was at least shown in it. We know just from the little tease, it opens up with Scott reading from his book to a crowd, having a little bit of a book signing kind of meeting situation. He's kind of been out of the superhero game for a hot minute. He gets a call from jail where he gets a call to go pick up Cassie from prison. He's trying to help her, but he's worried about her wasting her life, much like he did. But unlike him, it seems like she's trying to be her own kind of vigilante. So, I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I got from it, from the descriptions I've read. She's kind of like being a little more of a Robin Hood than kind of he was at the time. You know, he goads about saving the world. Hank Pym calls him out on it for constantly having to point that out. Janet and Hope also chime in on it. And then we get a voiceover from Jonathan Majors, Kang, saying, "You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You've lost a lot of time, but time isn't what you think. It's not a straight line. Something in a lab explodes, starts sucking them into the quantum realm. They all end up in another world, navigating it with their new suits." Bill Murray shows up. He seemingly knows Janet, so maybe while they were in the quantum realm, they run into one another. MODOK is making his live-action appearance in this film as he appears on the screen. And then we get a final line from Kang. Not a final line. We get another line from Kang saying, everything you are holding on to. Sorry, man. I have dyslexia a little bit, so if I have to reread a couple of things, it's going to be rough. Everything you are holding on to, everything you call life, I know how it ends. And Scott tells him he made a mistake because he's an Avenger. And Kang replies with, "You're an Avenger. Have I killed you before?" And the trailer ends. Now, when he said you're an Avenger, I was like, well, it seems like such a missed opportunity for him to be like, well, I am a conqueror. Oh, dude, that would have fucking sent chills into my bones, man. Oh, I can't wait, man. Jonathan Majors, I think just as He Who Remains, was a great interpretation and spin on that character. But seeing him play Kang the Conqueror is going to be chef's kiss, man. He is fantastic. And just, I can hear his voice speaking these lines, and it just sends shivers down my spine. From all intents, from the tone, that the way they've talked about this movie and the things that it's kind of going to be tackling in, oddly enough, for an Ant-Man film, they said it's going to lean a little heavy and a little dark. So I'm kind of surprised. But that kind of seems to be the theme moving forward into these later phases a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one a lot more than I was initially. So I'm ready for that one, man. Are you guys excited to see Jonathan Majors bring Kang to the big screen for the first time? But following that up, the next thing on the lineup, at least as far as the timeline we were given shows, is Secret Invasion, which releases spring 2023. It promises to be more tonally in line with The Winter Soldier and much darker than what we are used to, is what they said when they took the stage. There's a real sense of paranoia in the show, obviously, if the Skrulls are involved, and they can they can shapeshift, they can be anybody. No one knows whether you're actually who you are. Like, we saw hints of that in Spider-Man Far From Home when thought we were dealing with Maria Hill and Nick. I was going to say Nick Cage, Nick Fury, but it ended up being Talos instead. That it really is going to create this weird sense of tension throughout it. They got to see a couple of bits of footage, nothing crazy. Nick Fury emerges from a light of his ship. He's returning to Earth, has not answered Maria Hill's calls for help. He tells her this is different. War Machine is questioned about his security detail. Talos encounters evil Skrulls who suddenly emerge. Fury is ready to fight, but Olivia Colman tells him that he's in no shape to take on the fight. Fury wants to take them on a line, and Motorcade is flipped. Look at Emilia Clarke. I don't think it's actually been confirmed who she's playing yet. And then Talos wants to know what the Skrulls want from Nick Fury, and it's not revealed in the trailer. So yeah, man. Dude, I really can't wait for that one. I think that one's going to be intense. I think it's going to be one that we're kind of going to be gripping our seats for, and I think I get the feeling that it's going to be, I hope that it is as serious as they say, along the lines of Winter Soldier and all that sort of thing. I really hope it gears more towards that, because I think in order for that tension to really ride strong and high, it's going to have to commit to it. But I'm really looking forward to that one, and like everything else, we will be reacting to it here on the channel, so I hope you guys stick around if you're new, if you're not subscribed, because it's definitely going to be one I'm looking forward to checking out. Next up on the slate is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which will be releasing May 5th, 2023. They got to see a trailer. Sadly enough, again, we didn't get to see anything because the VFX weren't done for the trailer yet, so obviously it's not ready for the public just yet, but in the footage, we get to see the Guardians captured by the Ravagers, and Nebula reveals that they have an appointment with Gamora. So the 2012 Gamora, I guess, is just kind of riding high, roaming about in this universe still. Peter Quill is caught off guard, reflects on their time together. You were everything to me, he says, and I thought you were gone, but you're here, and I miss you. And Gamora tells him that was another person, not her. We get our first look at Adam Warlock, played by Will Coulter. A grown Groot fights back-to-back with Quill. I need to look up his name because I can't recall it. Because he was in, his last name. I couldn't remember his last name. If you guys watched Peacemaker, Chuck Woody Awuji, I always struggle saying his name, man, makes an appearance in this. He is playing none other than the High Evolutionary, which, depending on how he makes his stand in this, also has a hand in, at least in the comics, in Pietro and Wanda Maximoff's even existence. I don't know if they will intersect those storylines at all in the MCU, but it does definitely bode a big question on what's going to happen there, and if, again, there's going to be any mutant connections throughout that. But Chuck Woodsy takes the stage in full costume as the High Evolutionary, which I'll share with you guys here in just a second. The Guardians float on a space planet. Gamora caps the trailer by calling Quill by the wrong name and turning him down. The Guardians joke on Quill for taking her so intimately on an open communication line, and they've been listening all along. It ends with Mantis asking what we know about Rocket. We get a shot of a very young, very scared Rocket Raccoon as it takes the screen, and then much of the trailer was set to Do You Realize by the Flaming Lips. And then that was when Chuck Woodsy took the stage in full getup as the High Evolutionary. So yeah, man, crazy stuff. From what they talked about on the set, it's going to have a heavy focus on them dealing with their loss, dealing with them moving on after everything that's happened in Endgame. A lot of stuff we've seen with other characters and whatnot. But a large part of this is going to be exploring Rocket Raccoon's origins. And as James Gunn's been very open about, this is his last Guardians of the Galaxy movie. This is the last time you will see this entire group of cast members together. And that maybe not everybody's going to be making it out at the end of the day. So, again, kind of leaning towards, like what I said earlier, that Phase 5 might be a little bit more Empire Strikes Backsy, which has me a little excited to see where things go from there. From here, details are light on certain things that I'll just let you know what we got. We got logos, we got release dates, and we got a little bit of some nuggets here and there. But for the most part, from this way forward, it's mostly just, here's a thing that's going to come eventually. So right after that, the next thing that's coming out that we know on the docket after Guardians 3 is Echo, which, of course, you know, the character is going to be returning after Hawkeye coming back, focusing on her character moving forward. We know Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are confirmed to be in the show, reprising their roles as they are pivotal characters in Echo's life, very formative characters in Echo's comic book origins. So having them in there might seem like we're shoehorning in more Daredevil stuff, or we're overshadowing Echo's presence. But it's kind of, I mean, if you want to adapt her story, that's kind of the route you have to go. They're both very much so linked to one another. Is Charlie Cox or Kingpin and Matt Murdock are very important to her development. So I'm excited. More so excited for Charlie Cox and some Vincent D, but I'm definitely down to see where they go. We know Loki Season 2 is coming. Echo, is releasing summer 2023. Also, summer 2023 is Loki Season 2, which is already filming as we speak. That's really all we know about it. We know when it's a ballpark of when it's coming out, and we know it's currently filming. That's pretty much all we got at the moment. Next up is The Marvels, which is releasing July 28th, 2023. And, of course, we have our Marvels going on a cosmic adventure. We got a little hint and tease at the very tail end of Ms. Marvel, where she gets blipped away and Carol is now suddenly in her place. And Kamala is who knows where. But we know that it's going to center around Monica Rambeau, Carol Danvers, and Kamala Khan, which I'm excited for. Way more so now after Ms. Marvel than I was prior to that. Blade is next with a November 3rd, 2023 release. Other than the casting of Mahershala Ali, we don't know anything else about this. We got a new logo reveal for the movie, but that is it. Ironheart releases next fall 2023. Dominique Thorne returns as Riri Williams. She will be introduced in Wakanda Forever, which I forgot to touch upon, so sorry for that. But she's making her debut appearance there, and she will be continuing onward into her own series on Disney Plus of fall 2023. We got a new name and new logo for the Agatha, originally House of Harkness, now Coven of Chaos, and a ballpark release date of winter 2023 to 2024, meaning it would more likely be like November-ish, December-ish, going into January of 2024, because I feel like that might confuse some people with it parsed out that way. I already mentioned the Untitled thing there. And then the big thing that blew me out of the water was this fucking reveal right there, man. Daredevil, Born Again. We're getting a Disney Plus Daredevil show. So much Matt Murdock, man. So much. And I'm here for all of it. And they're giving us 18 episodes. 18 episodes of Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio in a show together yet again. Woo! Dude, I can't wait, man. When that dropped, when I saw that, because Saturday when I was like keeping up, trying to make sure I was ready to go for recording a reaction to any trailers and stuff like that, I was just refreshing Twitter. The moment that thing dropped, I was like, if I could do a reaction to just me reading a tweet, it would have been me almost knocking this chair over when I saw that. We accept the full cocks. Give me all the cocks. I will take your cocks. Oh, that's going to be taken out of context, and I don't care, man. I really don't. I really can't wait. I really can't. That excites me to no end, especially with not only the parental controls, the TVMA for some of their projects, for the rated R stuff like Deadpool with Logan coming in. That shows me that maybe Marvel and Disney is not that afraid to push the boundaries a little bit more, and then not only could we see things be a little more closer to that Netflix tone. I don't know that they will stick to that or they go that hard that direction, but that they're willing to at least entertain that. On top of that, breaking the mold with this being, as far as we know, the longest episode order for any of their shows. I'm really fucking excited for Daredevil, man. So ready for it. But yeah, man. After that, we've got Captain America New World Order releasing May 3rd, 2024. And then to cap off Phase 5, ending Phase 5, Thunderbolts. We've all been like speculating, is this happening? Are we setting it up? Yes, we are. And it's capstoning Phase 5. Some weird verbiage. They quoted this as a new team of heroes hits the MCU scene, and that it will include some characters we've not met yet. Even though we've met a fair share of people that highly meet the qualifications that would normally be set for this type of team. I mean, there's Ghost, there's John Walker, there's Yelena, we got Valentina probably leading it, maybe not. We got Zemo, we've got Abomination, and who knows who else up to this point. Thunderbolts is a movie. It is going to be a movie. Movie. So yeah, who else? How thick is this collection going to be? How many people are going to be on the team? I don't know, but I'm excited, and I'm curious to see what the tone of it's going to be. How's this going to play? Is this going to be Suicide Squad-ish? Is this going to be more like Winter Soldier? I don't know. What kind of missions are they going to be sent on? I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. And two, with the passing of Thunderbolt Ross himself, how's that going to be addressed? Especially with his character's namesake being the name of this film. I'm very curious to see how... That's another unfortunate passing that I'm curious to see how we're going to have to address in some format within the universe. So will they recast him? I don't know. But I do feel like Valentina will probably play a huge part moving forward into this. Yeah, man. That caps off Phase 5. And then Kevin Feige was like, you want to know where this is going? You want an idea? You want a clue? You want to know the things that I know? Smacks us with this right here. Dates and 3 particular projects to be confirmed for Phase 6. Phase 6, my guys, for Phase 6. Whole bunch of unconfirmed projects, man. We got 3 confirmed, but we got a fall 2024. We've got 2 fall 2024s unconfirmed. We got a winter 2024 and a winter 2025. We got 2 spring 2025s, and we got 2 summer 2025s that are all unnamed. But what we do have named is the very first film, which tells me that the fall 2024 slot will probably be a Disney Plus series, because they did say the first film to kick off Phase 6 is none other than the Fantastic Four. And we don't know shit. Some stuff that John Krasinski said here vaguely contradicts some things we've heard in the past, that his casting may be more than just the one-off it was for Multiverse of Madness, but I think that it's going to be, I don't know. I would be, I know a lot of people are really married to that casting, but I would probably like to see a brand new cast. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. But it's not all we know about it. The only things we know is that it's coming out November 8th, 2024. It's the first film of Phase 6, and it's not going to be their origin story. Kevin Feige said it's most people know know the basics about their characters, and they want to try to see how they can do this differently, new, and reinvent the wheel with these characters moving forward. And I'm all for that, man. I agree. I feel like at this point, they are necessary to introduce, given who the big bad of all of this is. Their descendant, Kang, is a descendant of Reed Richards and Sue Richards, Sue Storm. Like, he is a descendant of theirs. So tie that in. Big question is, if it's not an origin, how do you introduce them? Where have they been if they've already got their powers? Well, like Kang has said, time's not a straight line. Now that he's a player in the field, my guess is maybe they've been imprisoned in the quantum realm. Maybe they're not even from 616. Or, I don't know. Because if time is a flat circle, and he can go whenever, wherever, he could have easily have already removed them from the 616 timeline and kept them out of it all. I don't know. That's just something I thought of the other day. And I just wanted to posit that. But I'm excited for this. I actually like the Fantastic Four. They're not my favorite superhero team by any stretch. Stretch. I did not mean to make that joke. That just happened. Sometimes I can have some good thoughts. But I like them. I actually like the first live-action Fantastic Four movie with Chris Evans. I thought it was entertaining. The second one sucked balls, but and I never even bothered to see Fan Four Stick, so I can't comment on that. I can only speak on the train wreck that everybody else says it is. With that said, the next confirmed title, which links into what I said, is the first of 2 Avengers movies, which I swear there was a quote like just a month or 2 ago from Kevin Feige saying they don't even have any plans to do another Avengers movie. Oh, you Feige. But yeah, the Kang Dynasty. Oh man, dude. Give it to me. Kang. I want it. I want it now. All Marvel did over Comic-Con was make me want to take better care of myself to ensure that I can see this through. To see how this pans out. Because if Nathaniel Richards, Kang himself, is the main Avengers pinnacle threat that we're building up to for Phase 6 and this entire saga so far, makes sense that we need the Fantastic Four involved. And I cannot wait to see how they wrap that in. But he does one more. We've all been talking about it since Secret Invasion, since Kang, since Loki, since the multiverse. What are we building towards? Are we building towards, or what we think we're building towards? Are we doing it? Are we doing it? And Kevin himself said, "Ha ha! We are! Secret Wars is coming." And I forgot to even mention that Kang Dynasty comes out May 2nd, 2025, and Shang-Chi's Destin Daniel Cretton will be directing. And Secret Wars follows mere months later, November 7th, 2025, with an unconfirmed director. It will be a different director. Will be coming out just mere months after it, bookending that. Secret Wars is basically, on the most basic of terms, like Marvel's kind of equivalent to DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, some crazy shit's gonna come out of that. Which, with that in mind, and that reveal, we got the title of all these sagas, where we had Phase 1, 2, and 3 aptly named the Infinity Saga. This new series of phases has been dubbed, rightfully so, the Multiverse Saga. And that is what this is all building towards. As this is the trajectory, and honestly, it's kind of been there all through Phase 4 in varying degrees. The connections, the threads, the clues, the breadcrumbs are all kind of there. Big question is, what happens after Secret Wars? What happens in Phase 7? Because in the comics, it was pretty much a massive reboot of the universe, which they could use to just reset the MCU and do whatever the fuck they want. They could change characters, get rid of characters, we could lose characters, we could lose timelines, we can lose histories. Who knows? Who knows what will come after this? What's interesting, I think, and never mind, correction, Secret Wars closes Phase 6, because that's what I wasn't sure about. Like, I had to go back and pull this up. I couldn't remember if there was actually another untitled project after Secret Wars. So no, that closes that whole saga and that whole phase. So really, anything after that is who fucking knows. But yeah, we got a bunch of untitled projects that we know nothing about. We know that Armor Wars should be on this list somewhere, but it is oddly enough absent. So, I mean, I'm having to guess that maybe it's been pushed into Phase 6, or maybe something else is getting reworked with it. We see that none of the animation stuff has been included on the timeline lists. So I don't know. But it's wild, man. It's wild. But guys, that concludes my PowerPoint presentation of everything we learned at Comic-Con and the subsequent week thereafter of what is to come. Of what is to come. So I'm going to pop out, come over here, and I'm just going to open the floor for a little bit. We got about 30 minutes before I actually need to start worrying about food and dinner and all that stuff. So let's see how you guys are vibing. How's everybody's going? I haven't actually been able to... Sadly enough, I've not been able to, with multitasking and all this, not been able to... what's the word I'm looking for? Moderate the chat. So I hope everything has been chill. But yeah, let's see. How's everybody been vibing? I'm just going to kind of scroll back. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Fantastic Four again. I know I see we got a lot of Chapin in here campaigning the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. connection. Kevin keeps saying, or at least alluding to it being its own timeline. See, I haven't watched the show, so I have no idea. I intend to react to it, so if you can keep the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spoilers to a minimum, I'd be really appreciative of that. Doctor Strange, we're in the Secret Wars now. And that's another thing. Is Doctor Strange's next outing actually going to be in a film? We saw him leave with Cleo to go try to remedy an incursion. Is there going to be a Doctor Strange 3? I mean, most of these characters have gotten other outings, trilogies to close out. I mean, hell, Ant-Man's got a trilogy. So, I'm wondering if maybe that will be involved in one of these other projects, or if we're going to be getting a Doctor Strange 3. Surprisingly absent is anything mutant related. I feel like they're really keeping that close to the vest. I know that this is I saw that in chat. I have to wait for it to show up so I can pop it on the screen. This is something that I did see. As Kevin has said, the reason to live long enough is to end at 2025 at least. And that, yes, this was what I was actually looking for. They can't recast the X-Men until 2025, even though they own the Fox properties contractually. The people that were hired on for those Fox X-Men films can't be recast until after 2025. They can use new characters, they can bring other people in, but if they want to use Wolverine, if they want to use Cyclops, if they want to use Jean Grey, if they want to use any of them, they have to wait until after 2025 because of those contracts, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, more than likely, who knows? Maybe the X-Men won't be seen in live action until Phase 7. It's going to suck, but it is what it is, man. Heard we'll likely see mutants, but can't see any X-Men legally. Yes, that's kind of what I was talking about there, actually. I love how Ant-Man got a trilogy. Me too, man. I definitely would not have bet money on X-Men getting a trilogy. Jesus. Ant-Man getting a trilogy. Great presentation. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. I had some downtime at work throughout the week. Glad to have been at your TED Talk. Thanks, McKay. I had a lot of downtime here and there. I was working on this for like 2 or 3 days, getting all the OBS scenes set up, getting all the projects and stuff in here set up to kind of go through it. I just was really nervous about putting and doing this as like a live thing, but I think it went okay. It could have been more smooth, but I think it worked out. I hope so, at least. Did great. Can't wait for everything. Thoughts on Thunderbolts cast? Who would you want to see? I think like the people I mentioned. You know, I would love to see Baron Zemo return. Same people that are playing them currently. Abomination, John Walker. I don't know if I want Yelena to be a main Thunderbolt or not. Ghost would be a great fit too, to bring her back in. And who knows? They'd mentioned new characters, and I'm very curious to see who that's going to be. It's also weird not knowing how or where or if Peter's going to show back up ever again. I mean, I know the plan is, but how long are they going to hold that off? Is he going to be in Secret Wars? Is he going to be in Phase 6? Is he going to pop up in another thing? I'm pretty sure Tom Holland contractually has one more appearance or cameo in a film to not lead but show up in a film on his existing contract. But I might be wrong. But yeah, I've got a lot of questions about that in the long run. Let's see. See a lot of people chiming in about the X-Men legalities. Sophie Turner just shows up in Secret Wars and it's Dark Phoenix all over again. I mean, if it is a collision of the multiverse together, the multiversal war happening again, you know, even contractually, even though they can't recast until after 2025, we could very well see some very familiar faces return and fight in this massive multiversal conflict. And yeah, we do have D23 for more stuff, which is next month. I'm sorry, not next month. It's not August yet. It's in September. But yeah, it's in September. So we only have a little over a month before we get to D23, where who knows what we'll learn. Don't even bring that up, man, Sebastian. Sad how we were getting an Ant-Man trilogy before a Superman trilogy. Breaks my heart, man. It really does. Ah. Oh. I do love the setup. Well done. Oh, thank you, Caters. I really appreciate it. I was like, I don't know why I wanted to go full. I don't know what you would call it. Presentation mode for this whole thing, but I wanted it to feel a little bit more different. I mean, it's already more me talking about things, like a more of a newscast or update than anything. I want to make a video out of it rather than just a kind of like what we're going to do tomorrow with whining with Omni and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll have more to. I'm sure we can just kind of shoot the shit a little more openly tomorrow, as per usual. We still have Daredevil 3, or not Daredevil 3, Deadpool 3, that's somewhere on this lineup that we don't know about yet. Kevin Feige's talking about that here today, actually. He's talking about how he wants that to be, how do we reinvent the wheel? Like how the third in everybody's movie was like a little bit special, like the third Captain America was Civil War, the third Thor movie was Ragnarok. How they always kind of recharge and reinvent everything. That how do we do that and up the ante with Deadpool is kind of what Kevin Feige and Ryan Reynolds are working on right now. So that's coming, and I'm wondering when that's going to come. Could that be that missing random mystery project in Phase 5, or are we going to be waiting until Phase 6 before we get Deadpool popping in? Iron Man 3 wasn't that special. You are not wrong. To be fair, you're right. You're right about that one. I need to stop reading the live chat. Because I have, like, if I see anything over there, I'd like to pop on the screen. I have to wait for it to propagate over here. Seriously, although it might take a while, if Kevin and my thought are right about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Secret Wars could be a way to bring them back into the fold. We'll keep it to that, though. Love you. Yeah, that'd be a good way to bring it in. It gives me plenty of time to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. then. Love you, man. Love you too, guys. Love all you guys. Everybody who's hanging out in here, man. For real. Saw an article that Captain Marvel and Shang-Chi will have a big part in Avengers 5. Well, I'm sure they will. They're some of the few people that are still around to do much of anything. So for sure. The whole DC thing hurts, but at this point I'm mostly pissed more than anything personally. I'm just sad. I want to be excited for some of the stuff they announced. Like their Comic-Con panel was fucking pitiful. Shazam 2, it looks great. I'm excited for Shazam 2. Black Adam, I'm cautiously optimistic about, but just one or two films here and there with just such of like an unseen anything in the distance. And with all the drama going on, it's hard to be excited. It really, really is. But we got a maybe confirmation, kind of maybe, that Ben Affleck might be Batman again in Aquaman 2 today. Maybe? Question mark? I don't know. But that's a whole other story. We're here for Marvel. Even though I'm a DC guy, in my soul, Marvel is pretty much my life support as a comic book fan anymore. Big L for real, but the Ant-Man films are pretty enjoyable. Films are pretty enjoyable. I love them, dude. I really do. Welcome to Marvel Nerd Review presentation. Thank you. Deadpool. See for the X-Men show up and is like, oh shit. Do you think Shang-Chi will be the Hawkeye? I will recruit everyone, inspire everyone to win equivalent. Well, I don't know. Shang-Chi, while without the rings, is kind of just a guy that punches people. With the rings, unlike Hawkeye, he's a much more heavy player. So, and the rings are setting up to take him on whatever journey. I don't know. they're calling out to somewhere in the cosmos, and we know from Ms. Marvel that he's got some kind of connection to the bangle that Kamala has. So I'm curious to see what we learn about that. So I don't know if I would call Shang-Chi the Hawkeye equivalent. So yeah, I would feel like the Hawkeye equivalent will be Kate. Even though she'll be like if you crossed Hawkeye with Ant-Man. I would say, with their personalities. Deadpool just kills everyone. That was a comic. There was an issue where Deadpool kills the entire Marvel universe. You know, I like the cast of X-Men in the Fox universe, the younger ones like young Professor X and Magneto. I did too. I thought they were really good. People were saying don't get your hopes up for Comic-Con, and Kevin said hold my beer. So D23 is either going to top it or be lame. I think it might just be supplementary. I think you're right, Susan, though. I went into Comic-Con not expecting anything. I expected like some trailers, a few things here and there, but I didn't expect any of this. The She-Hulk trailer seemed expected, seemed like obvious. Wakanda trailer seemed like that'd be the best place to drop it since it's coming out at the end of the year. But everything else was just it was just like Kevin Feige just and just letting it slap the ground and then just like beat you with it. It was so fucking intense, man. And it's a lot while at the same time not. Because like a majority of it is a logo and a date. A name and a date. But those names, they just bring a different wave, man. They tickle those senses, make you wonder. Oscar Isaac's back as Apocalypse and Moon Knight in Secret Wars. Yes. Somehow, if we can make that happen, why not? Do you think Spider-Man could be around? Could Daredevil and Kingpin be a part of it? Hope so. I mean, Charlie Cox did say out of all the people he wants to team up with would be Daredevil and Spider-Man, and I agree. That's a pairing I really do enjoy. I just want a Hulk trilogy, or at least a World War Hulk movie done right. And I miss Ed Norton's Hulk. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie. I prefer Mark Ruffalo's Banner and his Hulk, but I don't like the direction they went with his Hulk, to be completely honest. But unfortunately, the rights to a Hulk movie still lie with Universal, so Marvel Studios can't make a standalone Hulk movie, unfortunately, which sucks. And it almost seems like maybe they're doing this out of spite. But if they could find a way to work that in as a back plot for somebody else's movie, that would be cool. When you react to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I will definitely be checking out those reactions, by the way. Well, I appreciate that. I'm only hesitant in that it will literally take me, I think, 3 years to finish it if I do one a week, which is pretty much with everything else going on and keeping up with everything else. And doing an old show would be how I want to do it. Oh, God, it's going to take forever. Am I excited for the Marvels? After Ms. Marvel? Yeah. Hell yeah. I am. I really am. Where she was a fan of, like, this universe and Captain Marvel, and I like Captain Marvel. I like Brie Larson. I like the character. I thought the movie was mid as fuck. And I don't like using that term, but I definitely wasn't one of those people that hated on it for no reason. I just found it like it was an okay movie. I wasn't too thrilled about after that film where they were going to go with that character, but this pairing and Monica especially, yeah, I'm down for it. And just to see what they're getting into, because I feel like it's going to carry a lot of answers for some other stuff that we're not aware of. What's up, Shams? coming into the tail end here. Hope you're having a good time. It is rumored that Chloe Bennett might be in Secret Invasion. That is correct. I have seen up to season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so if and when I do react to it, I will be rewatching those seasons, because I'll be honest, when I watched them, I just kind of had them up on the screen and let it play. I wasn't paying too much attention, and it's been so long, because I was still in college when I was watching it, or trying to watch it. I don't remember anything, except, I'll tell you what I remember. I remember, what's his name with the W, being a Hydra agent in season 1. That twist. And I remember, what's her face? Chloe's character getting powers, and then learning about this, like, fantasy land somewhere. And that Inhumans kind of played a part in it. I don't remember much else. And a lot of mentions of Tahiti. I don't remember anything else, man. DC makes me cry in the shower sometimes. Hell yeah, man. I'm right there with you. Kate Bishop and Clint show up in Secret Wars. What are we meant to do here? Fair enough. They are probably one of my favorite duos, I think, that I've seen so far. I love Clint and Kate as a dynamic duo, man. I thought they worked off of each other so well. For as many issues as that show happened or had, I thought they were the strongest bits of it. Their chemistry was phenomenal. Marvel made DC the bad guys. Damage control. Hey, fuck, man. That might as well be what DC Comics is called right now. With Ezra Miller on the run, with all this drama, with that's still unresolved with Ray Fisher, with the Zack Snyder stuff. Warner Brothers, at this point, is literally only in damage control mode. To the point they didn't promote The Flash at all at Comic-Con. CW made me stare at my cat while questioning what is Gotham Knights. Oh, great, man. I will still stand by it. I think the Arrowverse is still my favorite superhero connected universe. They nailed it, I think, at least on the TV side of things, so much better than everybody. Like, in their heyday, in the prime of the Arrowverse, I think that was peak comic book television for me. On such a small-ass budget, too. They pulled off some really spectacular stuff. And again, with Warner Brothers being the assholes they are, limiting their uses, telling them to take shit out on a whim, basically sabotaging them from day one. And the fact they were able to get out half of what they were able to do is a miracle under Warner Brothers leadership. I'm more hyped about the Dungeons and Dragons with Pine than I am anything DC, which I don't know how cringe that is, but Pine is as a bard. No, Summer. I said that in my reaction to that trailer. And a few other trailers, to be honest. The movie I'm the most excited for next year is that Dungeons and Dragons movie. Right now. Until something I see blows me away, it's that movie, man. I am all in for that. And that is a surprise. Here's Crashing with a 4-part theory. I think Cap 4 New World Order will be Feige's Crisis on Earth X. Have Chris Evans return as Hydra Cap, the villain. Halfway through, the old Steve figure out that he's actually Hydra, like Logan. Have an evil younger version kill him, so it's emotional and believable, but brutal as well. Where's your part 3? So Act 3 will be Sam Cap versus Hydra Cap by Sam avenging Steve. At the end, where they bury Steve next to Peggy, have Sam or Bucky take the shield and place it in the ground at Steve's headstone. In the credits, Captain America will return. And then what? Would we have to give Sam a new shield? I wouldn't be opposed to that. That sounds pretty freaking epic, actually. That would be cool. That would be cool. How about Eric? Oh, no. More announcements during D23. I'm not sure my heart can take all this excitement. By the way, have you seen Eric Voss's interview with him on? I have not. I have not. Can you link me that in the Discord? I would like to see that. That'll be a personal watch for me, but no, I have not seen that. I would love to check that out. Who do I think the second leader in the new Avengers team would be? Like Iron Man kinda was in the original team. The reason I say secondary is because I'm pretty sure Falcon America. It's Captain America, Teddy, is going to be the leader. Honestly, I feel like it's probably going to be Carol. That's my guess. Hell, I would put money that Carol might be the primary leader. But who knows? I'm very curious to see where it's going to go. Omni! I have finished Stranger Things and love it. Also, am avoiding a lot of Marvel stuff so I can go to the movies super blind. So I'm just here to say hello and dip. Hope you're well. Well, you better get... Well, as long as you missed everything I was talking about before. Thanks for stopping in and showing some love. I'm glad you've caught up with Stranger Things. It's awesome. Have fun talking about it and joining in the revelry in our Discord. The sound effects in Aquaman are the same as Power Rangers, I swear. In the live-action Aquaman? I'll have to double-check. I would hope that they would at least make Superman and Shazam vs. Black Adam movie. That would have been awesome, but we'll see. Since Thunderbolts is going to introduce new characters, it leads me to think that it's going to follow more of the Suicide Squad plot with the main mission because of the bigger ensemble cast. So maybe have a bunch of new characters that will just kind of periodically kill off. Maybe. Hawkeye is still the best Avenger. Come at me. I don't care. Dude, I will tell you that I didn't hate Hawkeye, the character. He just didn't do anything for me. But after Hawkeye, the series, he leapt. Like, into my top, man. He's so relatable. And, like, just being the normal guy in all of this crazy insanity and the shit he has to deal with and survive and the way he just perseveres and just keeps his eye on the ball and the mission no matter what the stakes are, it really made me love that character a lot. Best Avenger? Don't know. Great character? Yes. I think Kevin said, hold all the beers. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Wanda, what mouth? Deadpool X-Men Origins. Oh no, that would be awful. That would be hilarious, though. If I remember right, Jeremy Renner said that he would want to appear as Wise Clint and would train the Young Avengers. I think that would be cool. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. I want a different Storm, honestly, and have her be darker skin, please. I mean, I'm curious to see who all they get in general for everybody. But I will say, I think the recast for Storm, just like with a lot of people in the second batch of X-Men films, just, I don't know, they just didn't get a lot of room to grow or be shown off. I was thinking more Shang-Chi being Clint from Age of Ultron. We're in a city that's flying and none of this makes sense. Not power-wise, but gung-ho-wise. Oh, I for sure. Dude fight a dragon. So he's like, dude, how do you top that? He's seen some crazy shit. So dude fought a dragon. I get you. I get you there. It's like, none of this makes sense. I fought a dragon. I fought a soul stealer. What are we doing here? Okay. I think we are aligned. Thoughts on rumors Doctor Doom will be in Wakanda forever. That would make sense. I don't think maybe a cameo or a hint or a tease, but I don't know if we'll see Doctor Doom. I am just really excited for Doctor Doom because he's such a magnificent villain, man. Daredevil and Spider-Man definitely happening, in my opinion. It's way too obvious. It better. I mean, I know it's happening on the animated side, but it's not with the MCU Spider-Man. Do you think Kevin will announce more returning cast members for Daredevil Born Again at D23? I hope so. I mean, I hope they get Karen and Foggy back, man. I really do. And there's also rumors, obviously, of the other Defenders returning. Nothing from Danny Rand or Finn Jones, but there's been some hints that Mike Coulter and shoot. Fuck, why am I blanking? Jessica Jones will be coming back. Kristen. Fuck, why am I blanking on her name? Please, somebody save me. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. Ritter. Thank you. God, I kept wanting to say Stewart for some reason, which I was like, that's not right. Dude, Jessica Jones season 1, fucking 11 out of 10. God tier. Same with Punisher season 1. I hated Kamala Khan before the show came out. Now I freaking love her character. I didn't really know her character all that much. I did a little bit of diving and research when the Avengers game was coming out. I knew a little bit about her, but I was always kind of confused because Ms. Marvel was also Carol Danvers' original name. So I always got confused about who's this Ms. Marvel? Because I thought that was Ms. Marvel. Speaking of Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers, imagine if they brought Rogue in and they did the thing. If you don't know, don't want to know, I doubt it's going to happen. You can plug your ears for like a couple seconds. If they introduced a new Rogue, because Rogue wasn't in the last batch, so I don't know how contractually that is involved. If they brought in a Rogue and she grabbed Carol, sapped all of her powers, and killed her, that would be insane. Even though I know in the comics, Carol ended up surviving that. Or being brought back. Yeah, be crazy. Be awesome, though. I hope the rumored World War Hulk project is real, and at the end, She-Hulk, she loses to Abomination, causing Hulk to Hulk out again, and causing the Man of Steel level damage, and people are horrified of Hulk now. That would be... Yeah, I know there was a project rumored. I still don't know how they would pull it off or do it, but yeah, that'd be crazy. Wait, you were live? I'm going back to the beginning. I missed it. Yeah, I was thinking about... I mean, I'm recording it just in case the stream had issues, but I think we've only dropped 18 frames, which is pretty smooth sailing for some of our streams, but I was recording it just in case, so regardless, it's going to end up on the channel. I feel like the more I've seen Carol, the more I like her. I'm right there with you, for sure. Which will cause She-Hulk and Wong to have to send Hulk off-world and not to be the movie time where will Deadpool. The thing, the Hulk versus Wolverine plus, we can see what a Hulk smash could do. That'd be cool. Did I like Logan? Check out my reaction. I reacted to Logan, so go find out. Carol got more dimension in the post-credit scene than her own film. Yeah. And that's the problem with... that's a huge problem with Amnesia storylines, is we didn't really get to know Carol. We got a lot of us being told about Carol or who Carol is as a person, but we never really got to see it because she wasn't Carol until like the end. And then everything we've seen since has been Carol being Carol. So I'm excited to see Carol being Carol. That was just the biggest hang up I had with that movie. Let's see, once you get to episode 14 of Agents of Shield Forward, it's amazing. Also, Sean Levy is coming back to direct Deadpool 3, or will be directing Deadpool 3, so that's gonna be fun. Bet Hulk will, and he will direct Dear Billy episode. As after Deadpool, and Deadpool will go, wait, pull out a cassette player and yell, help me, Kate Bush. Hits play, running up the hill, cut to Deadpool running away up a hill away from Hulk. That first Jessica Jones episode with Starlight still haunts me more than anything in The Boys. Jessica Jones, that first season is so heavy, man. It's so heavy. Do I think Fantastic Four will make a cameo in Cap 4? Like with Spider-Man in Cap 3 before their own movie? I doubt it. I doubt we'll see them. I don't want to say I doubt in anything, but I think they're more than likely to appear in something off-world, something cosmic, something interdimensional. I think the likeliest of places might be, if we see anything of them before their movie, it might be in Quantumania. Because again, if they're not doing an origin story, you have to explain why they haven't been around. So I still stand by my theory on that whole thing. Never finished Jessica Jones season 3. I love season 1 though. Season 1 was so good. Season 2 and 3 were just they were just a decline. It was just, it's hard to go from what they managed to pull off in season 1 and do with the tones, the themes, and especially David Tennant as the Purple Man, to the subsequent stories that came thereafter. They just, for me, increasingly decreased in quality. Portrayals, all that was still strong, but it just could never ever get close to that first season. Hell, Punisher was the same way for me. I thought the second season was massively a drop off after season 1. Iron Fist, I think, got better after season 1, because honestly, how did you get worse? I still enjoyed season 1, don't get me wrong, but it had so many problems. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I was still curious for the third season had they made one, but Luke Cage, I think, was a pretty solid 8 for both seasons. I felt really strongly about both. And I've said this many times. I think season 1 of Daredevil is a 10 out of 10. I think season 2 is like a 9 or an 8 out of 10. And season 3 is another 10 out of 10. I think I think Daredevil was definitely their most consistent multi-season show. And I actually like Defenders. I like seeing them all team up. Yeah. Do you think the Duffer Brothers should tackle the X-Men? I mean, they kind of already did that-ish a little bit. There was a lot of X-Men inspiration in Stranger Things. I think they do a great job with it. But based on their interviews, it sounds like they definitely want to stay away from these big studios, which kind of sucks. But I think they do a really good job with X-Men if they had the chance. Iron Fist was the worst thing about Iron Fist. Pretty much. Colleen Wing and... oh, shoot, the detective with the arm. Crap. Knight? Shit, what's her name? Something Knight? Somebody's in the chat's going to save me before I can think of it. Misty. Right? Yes. Ha! I didn't look at the chat. Thank you. Misty Knight. I love that setup, and I was really looking forward to what they were going to do with those two, especially after season 2. The way season 2 ended, and the journey that Danny and What's-His-Face were on, just touring the world. I really like what they were setting up. But yeah, man. I'm the Immortal Iron Fist. I'm the Immortal Iron Fist. Oh, and by the way, I'm the Immortal Iron Fist. That was pretty much most of his dialogue, yes. All right, guys. It's been a fun stream. I'm going to call it a close. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I wasn't sure how this was going to go or how many people were going to tune into it because it is just a weekday and it's a little later in the evening. I know a lot of our usual viewers and stuff are a fair mix of people in the States, but a lot of people overseas and stuff like that. But I'm glad we had fairly strong turnout. So yeah. If I didn't get to your questions or anything like that, or if you got your own thoughts, your own speculations, theories, anything like that, drop them in the comments. Join our Discord. Links to that and all my socials in the description box. Please, if you're not already following me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, follow me. I'd really appreciate it. But guys, we're going to sign this off like a normal YouTube video because it's going to be going up on the channel. So, really appreciate you guys. Love you all to death for supporting this. If you're not subscribed, stick around, hang out, because we will be reacting to anything coming out of Marvel Studios and going to Disney Plus, except for I Am Groot. As long as it's not like that pocket. So keep an eye out, stick around, hang out. Before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Mandy Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori Koryaskov, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melita, Robert Anguiano, Cal Kestis Nation, and Raven McCann. Thank you guys and everybody who tuned in for all of your love, your support on every video and on this stream. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.